My brothers and sisters, welcome to the age of Sukuna KAISEN. Our heroes are unable to halt the unstoppable force that is Ryoman Sukuna. And as of chapter 253, we have to place our hopes on some questionable characters. However, what a time to be reading Jujutsu Kaisen right now. At this point, it feels like everyone relevant is taken out of the picture, leaving only Sakuna in the wake of such destruction. Yet, this is such an insane read, so let's dive right into this chapter. Straight into chapter 253, we get a flashback of various sorcerers getting interviewed, and the question is, who is the strongest grade 1 sorcerer? Mei says that it's Kusakabe. Nanami says that it depends on the situation, but it's probably Kusakabe. And even Gojo said that it was Kusakabe. However, it's different if you include the 3 big sorcerer clans. However, Kusakabe himself doubts that it's him or someone named Usami. We have never actually heard the name Usami before, and it sounds like a woman's name. However, this is a grade 1 sorcerer from Jujutsu High, as it looks like, and they could be the real name for an alias like, say, Mei, or an entirely new character like a sorcerer from the big 3 clans, and maybe even related to Kusakabe. Regardless, they are probably a very strong grade 1 that Kusakabe respects, and we have yet to see them. But it's interesting, we're this early in and we're already getting some random Kusakabe glaze. This feels like some sorcerer interview extra about Gojo way back when. However, when did grade 1s become so relevant? And I like that Gojo added the big 3 sorcerer clans as well, because Kusakabe may be the strongest at the school or the Jujutsu facilities. However, the Zenin clan exists, and I'm pretty sure folks like Naobito and Naoya Zenin are stronger. Still, it's crazy that Kusakabe is this strong and he doesn't even have a curse technique. Time and time again, Kusakabe shows the craziest feats and extremely diverse battle IQ, yet Kusakabe himself is quite the coward. He is really more like a comedic relief of a character, but you can tell he has some serious real skill, so we're just gonna see that he's gonna show us why he is so strong. Besides that random bit, we return to Maki versus Sukuna, and this is such a crazy battle. I know the first thing fans will consider running through their minds is the fact that Sukuna is heavily nerfed. However, Sukuna is still stronger than everyone right now, and he is thoroughly interested in Maki Zenin. In fact, it looks like their quote-unquote blades clash as Sukuna's dismantle narrowly missed her and cuts the building behind her. So as they struggle, the structure falls down and they both break away from the falling rubble and all the debris and cars from the lot. Sukuna gets between a car and Maki, obstructing her vision, and cleverly tries to slash her, yet Maki was actually able to perceive it. The impact from the slash and the car sent Maki crashing to the building, and before she can even react to what's happening at the end of the hallway, Sakuna is already inside of the building, and just as she reacts, he catches her with a point-blank cleave, which Sakuna says himself is fatal, especially with no reverse curse technique, yet Maki is just built different cause she walked that off quickly after. Suddenly, Ino appears behind Sakuna trying to use one of his auspicious beast summons, probably the Kaiichi horn thing, yet Sakuna turns around and shuts down that fodder. However, Ino was actually able to withstand the dismantle slashes, yet Sakuna followed through with a decisive kick that pretty much took him down and crashed him out the building. During this exchange, Kusakabe revs an attack from above, and Sakuna notices that Ino wasn't using Nanami's blade. Instead, Kusakabe comes crashing down using Nanami's ratio technique infused into the weapon. Nonetheless, Sakuna tanks it and just shrugs Kusakabe off. However, thankfully, Maki runs in and manages to push Sakuna away just in time. It looks like when she sent him flying, she ran alongside him and rammed the concrete structure between them with brute force. This crashed Sakuna back a second time. Maki then cuts the concrete supports in the building into chunks, and she notes that even if Yuta survives, there's going to be more problems if this fight is prolonged further. So she needs to end things right here and now and take him down. So she kicks the concrete at him. And I like how much of an absolute brute that Maki is with her physical strength. It reminds me of how Mappa used their animation with Toji versus Megami. Everything in the environment is like a weapon to them. Also, during this fight, if you're wondering about Maki's soul split katana and how Sukuna is interacting with it, he actually seems to be able to block it with his arms and even grab it multiple times during this chapter. Now, since soul split katana specifically ignores the hardness of everything to cut the soul directly, then I don't think that any amount of cursed energy reinforcement makes an opponent able to withstand the blade, even if it's Sukuna. So unless Sukuna just gets another soul buff where he can just resist the blade altogether, which at this point I wouldn't put it past him at all. However, right now I think he's using the slashes similar to how he grabbed Yuta's sword, shrouding his arm with dismantles, and that's also a good reason why he's able to keep clashing with swords. It's almost like having an invisible sword. After the death of Gojo, Kashimo, Higuruma, and Yuta, all of their sorcerer talents managed to entertain Sukuna. However, they were merely appetizers, even them showing their peak of sorcery. The one that excited Sukuna the most was the heavenly bound Zenin Maki, who had left it all behind. And this reality enthralled the King of Curses by this revelation. One moment Sukuna is here, the next moment he disappears. Sukuna blitzed the living hell out of Maki for no reason. He palmed her face and ripped off a chunk of it, and Sukuna remarks Maki isn't half-assed like Yuji. She is true nothingness, having carved off cursed energy altogether. And Sukuna is truly excited as he yells that sorcery is only the skin and meat, but Maki's body is the bones and the true essence. Her very existence defies all of Jujutsu. As Maki's blade clashes with Sukuna, she realizes he stopped healing with reverse curse technique, and Sukuna rambles on. Sorcery or the physical body? As strength and power, which is better to seek? Which one is worth developing? This is the first time ever that someone has bestowed upon Sukuna a role to fulfill. Sukuna finally lands a black flash on Maki of all people, and he sends her flying away. We never see her after that, just the impact from the punch. After running the gauntlet through some of the modern and past era's most fearsome fighters, I guess Sukuna got his answer. The King of Curses even managed to surpass the physical might of the heavenly gifted, proving that he is the strongest living creature ever. So in the face of such a powerful monster, who stands against him? Kusakabe mutters to himself that there's just no way that he's the only one left. What about Itadori? Chozo? Mei? Hell, anybody. If there's no way of winning in the first place, he would have already just retreated. However, he's come this far, so now I guess he's gotta fight now. Is this really happening? Kusakabe versus Sukuna. My brothers and sisters, what did we just read? The last capable fighter left is quite possibly the laziest sorcerer in history, and to top it all off, it's a break next week. And I actually love this. Sukuna KAISEN is not nearly as bad as folks make it out to be, and now our cast has to find more and more ways to take down Sukuna through unconventional measures. So now we're gonna see the strongest sorcerer of all time versus the strongest sorcerer available. And what's crazy is I never really noticed Sukuna's cursed energy drawn this specific way. Since unleashing Black Flash, Sukuna should be even stronger. He's in the zone. And much like Gojo, his reverse curse technique, his cursed energy pool, his cursed energy output may return as the sparks of black course through him. He's invigorated by his own Jujutsu prowess, maybe even buffed by 120%. So he's now in that state and is going to fight Kusakabe. Just Kusakabe. No curse technique, no domain expansion, above average cursed energy, I guess. And low-key, Kusakabe is not even the best swordsman in his own series. But nonetheless, where there is hope, there is delusion. This matchup is actually laughable. It's a joke. This is even crazier than Takaba versus Kenjaku. Only this time, there's no Looney Tune gags or anything. It's just straight up blood and sorcery. And I think at some point, we have to break the cycle. Because it's like you fight Sukuna, you rough him up a bit, Sukuna's holding back, then the character dies or loses and rinse and repeat. Everyone is a Sukuna victim, especially Kusakabe. And the plot isn't exactly in Kusakabe's favor as much as it is for like Yuji or Sukuna. Because Yuji especially has a counter to Sukuna's soul, and he has a narrative purpose to follow through on and kill Sukuna. Kusakabe is just trying to scrape by and do all he can. He may be the strongest grade 1 sorcerer, but what's that to Sakuna, who cannot even be bound by this era's scaling of special grade? He is the strongest sorcerer of all time in all of history, in all of the modern era, and maybe even in the future. If anything, Gege is really subverting our expectations, and Kusakabe will reveal the true power of this new shadow style. Simple Domain neutralizes the sure hit effect of a curse technique inside a domain, but there was never any real explanation why Kusakabe was able to use new shadow style to nullify curse techniques by themselves, and he is doing that to some extent. He did this with Uzumaki and Sukuna's slashes. Gojo himself compared new shadow style to domain amplification, which actually is an ability that neutralizes a curse technique. So there is something different about new shadow style, and Kusakabe has mastered different forms of this power. Don't be surprised when bro pulls out Evening Moon sword drawing and he parries the World Slash. I know it's delusion, but as I see it, Kusakabe has 3 options. He could actually be cold, and new shadow style is a top 1 curse technique counter. He gets saved by another character, either to jump Sakuna or to run away, or finally, he just dies like fodder instantly, which surprisingly, I find that the least likely to happen. However, this is the hand that Gege dealt us, and I actually really enjoy it. Soon I want to make a video about Hikari's battle debut during this break week as well, because of the importance of him as a heavy hitter and possibly as one of the last capable sorcerers as well. But if you guys like this type of content, remember to like and subscribe for more, and I'll see you amazing brothers and sisters in the next one. Bye-bye.